What's happening, everybody? I'm Yogi Roth. Thanks for coming for the first time or for maybe the second, third, or fifth time to this YouTube channel. It's been fun to create some content and try to connect to fans and what you might be looking for when it comes to college football. I'm fresh off the plane and an epic couple days in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl. UW from the Pac-12 on their way to the Natty to face Michigan. I'll be there in Houston this upcoming Monday night. But I wanted to focus and spend some time on the Texas Longhorns and what Steve Sarkisian has built and is building. Number one, and I learned this from Mac Brown years ago. He said, Yogi, college football is about two things, the players and the fans. Now, in this area, it might be about the media and the money as well. But when you talk about the fans, I just want to give a shout out to the UT faithful. It was so fun meeting so many of you on the streets of New Orleans, whether it was New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street, the day of the game, post game. I mean, you all had a class about you that was really impressive. Being in the Pac-12 and the West Coast for the last 20 years or so, don't get to run into Texas fans that often. Last time I ran into you, you were really thrilled because you beat USC. I was on that staff. That was my first year coaching almost 20 years ago. And as I was watching this game come down to the end, I couldn't help but think about the game almost 20 years ago with Vince Young making that play at the Rose Bowl. And then, of course, having Vince Young on the sidelines this past week in the Sugar Bowl. Here's why. When the game ended at USC and Vince Young made that amazing run to win it all for the Longhorns, I packed up my stuff as a young coach. I'm 22, 23 years old. I run as fast as possible down to the locker room because I said, I want to hear what Pete Carroll has to say. USC was on the verge of winning 3 straight national championship games. And what he said, which is detailed in his book that I was able to co-author, Win Forever, he said, look, 17 seconds, I think it was 17 seconds will never define you. You're still champions. And when you heard Steve Sarkisian in the post game and he was asked, what did you say to your team? He said, look, you're champions. You won the Big 12 championship. You're a championship program. You're championship players. And I would imagine if we were in that locker room, he would have said, 1 second doesn't define you. Because this game came down to the final tick, the final play. So I think for UT fans and the faithful, I'm not sure what Quinn Ewers is going to do. I'm not sure who's going to be your quarterback next year. But you have a foundation that is set. You have a coaching staff that is elite. And I think heading into the SEC, Texas is best positioned to take a run at Georgia and Alabama. And here's why. I think when NIL began, if you're paying attention to college football, you knew that the West Coast was going to make a big time comeback. Because I just believe that players want to be in major metropolitan areas to grow their brand and thrive in that area. Now, I get it. Some brands like Alabama in the SEC, which might not be in LA or might not be in Seattle or might not be in Austin, they have a brand there. I'm not disparaging that at all, but I do think the majority of players and recruits I talk to, there's something about being drawn to a little bit bigger of a community, especially in NIL when you can do a little bit more in terms of things that are within your own reach, within your own grasp. And I think Austin is an amazing city. And when you comp Austin and the opportunities in that city to every other city in the newly formed SEC next year, you could say who's second, third, or fourth, but I think Austin's number one. When you look at what vibe can you offer a recruit, what opportunities can you offer a recruit. So it's not going to be easy in that league. It's proven to be the most dominant league in recent history. But I don't think Texas walks into that league behind the 8 ball anymore. I think with what they did this season and where this program is going, because they're just getting warmed up with Steve Sarkisian at the helm, you're going to have a chance to take over that league. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to dominate it by any stretch of the imagination, but you should be 1, 2, 3 every year. And I think as this thing keeps going, Steve Sarkisian, I don't imagine him leaving anytime soon. Who knows how much longer Nick Saban will be there, Kirby Smart, he could stay. They both could stay there as long as they want. But my point is, look out. Here comes Texas. So it was a tough loss, I know, for the Longhorns. I know how much you love your team. I know how much you love reading and watching and learning about your team. But for a guy who's known Steve Sarkisian for over 20 years now, you got a great guy at the helm. I mean, I couldn't help as I was watching him and even interviewed him at media days, thinking to myself, he's the same energy that I met when he was in his early 30s, but the experience factor and everything he's gone through in his life with his health. I mean, all the things that have been well documented. ESPN did a great feature just on a scare with his heart. I just think he's seasoned, and I think that he's primed to build a national powerhouse year after year after year. So you didn't make it to the Natty, but man, did you make a big time jump over the course of the last couple of years with UT football, getting it back to the stage that I think it truly belongs on. So congratulations, and hopefully you're cheering on UW in the title game. I'll be there providing a bunch of insight and access, and hopefully a little post game celebration. So come right here. Check it out on this YouTube channel. We'll continue to share as much as we possibly can. Thanks and Happy New Year. Peace.